Women do not need permission to use AI, and today's guest is building the community that proves it. Kate Telge joins us to talk about AI curiosity, AI courage, and creating communities on our own terms. Welcome to the AI Empowered Mom podcast. I'm Sarah, your host and the founder of AI Empowered Mom, where we are on a mission to reduce the mental load of parenthood using AI assistance. Today, Kate joins us to talk about the AI gender gap and how she is doing something about it. Kate, I am so glad you're here.
Thank you so much for having me, Sarah. I'm so inspired by the work that you do, and I'm so glad that we've been able to connect. What you're doing is so important. I don't even have children, but I have a niece and nephew. I have friends with kids, care about humanity in general. So thank you so much for having
Well,
me.
that's so kind. And AI Empowered Mom is a caregiving community. So you care for your niece and nephews, you care for your plants. This is a place for you. You do not
I
have to be a mom to be
could
here.
really use some tips for not killing my plants.
Well, Kate, we frequently discuss the AI gender gap on this podcast and in this community. I'd love to know your experience, what you've seen at Meta and in your own life. What does that AI gender gap look like to you?
Yeah. So I think I want to start by saying throughout this conversation, I might make some sweeping generalizations about men and women. And I just want to say that that is not all men and it is not all women. And I will try to support with data where and when I can. And some things are just things that I've observed and they're anecdotal. And so I'll try to say that as well. But I'll start with my personal experience. I came up in not a technical background. I was marketing communications. I got into fitness. I lived in Southeast Asia, really random career path, non-traditional, non-linear. Ended up in tech in San Francisco at a fitness company. And then I was building communities. And then from there, ended up at Meta. So really came into tech from a space of people relationships, communication, not numbers, data, coding, developer work at all. And so I oftentimes felt like I was behind in terms of what people were talking about. I had to catch up really quickly. I had to Google a lot of terms. Felt very nervous about asking questions because I felt like everyone else already knew these things. I usually found myself in spaces that were mostly men. And like if we had a meeting where it was all women or mostly women, someone would say something. It was like, oh
Mhm.
my gosh, are y'all seeing this? This is huge. This is so fun. And so when AI started really being talked about, I was at Meta. Meta's doing a lot in the AI space. And again, felt like I was just expected to know how to use these tools and what they were and how they were built and how to just make my work so much better with AI automatically, and just did not feel like I could ask the questions that I wanted to ask. And so it's my own personal experience. And then I really started digging into the data around it. And on the developer side, people and the voices actually building AI, building the technology that's being used is 70% men, almost 70% men. And as we know, as you know, AI learns and is taught and trained based on human inputs. And so we're getting a very male dominated view with this technology. And so that's just one half. And then
Right.
the other half, the adoption side, we're seeing the latest research shows that 37% of women are adopting AI compared to 50% of men. The numbers might be a little bit different now, but that's the most recent data we have, which is just showing that the women aren't picking up the technology as readily as the men. And in the society that we live in, the companies, the businesses, the organizations, the nonprofits, the missions that are fueled by AI are going to win, and the ones that don't are not. And so I wasn't okay with the women not thriving because of this AI adoption gap.
Why do you think you were hesitant to ask the questions and inquire more about AI when it felt like everybody around you already knew?
Well, when I was at Meta, and I'm not knocking Meta, I think it's indicative of the world we live in and the tech culture in general. It's very competitive. You are literally stack ranked against your peers for bonuses, for ratings, for promotions. And so you do have to enter spaces and be informed and show that you know what you're doing and that you have to be confident. So
Uh-huh.
there isn't a culture necessarily where you can be like, hey, some question here,
Mhm.
or what is this thing? You really do have to present as knowledgeable and aware. And so for me, it was, I think, a cultural expectation of needing to know these things already. And then on the flip side, and this is something I've talked to a lot of women about and uncovered through building Maiven Collective, is women are more likely to feel like using AI is cheating than men,
Yes.
and that our work is going to be more heavily scrutinized than men feel theirs will be. Now, once you get into using AI, you do realize that it is just a tool and you still need your brain. There's so many ways that you infuse your own knowledge and experience into the output. But if you're just starting and you go into ChatGPT and you or Claude and you just enter a few things, at first it does feel like, oh gosh, like this I can't turn this in. So I think that what I found is there's a cultural aspect and then there's also the perception aspect of women feeling like I can't use this. I'm gonna get called out or be seen as a fraud.
Absolutely. So, how did you go about learning about AI? How did you begin your AI journey?
Great question. We had internal tools at Meta that we could only use. So, really just started playing around and experimenting and then doing personal experimentation on a different laptop, not using any company data or information. And I mean, that was the biggest thing, was just opening the tools and experimenting. And then a lot of conversations with friends who are more into it than I was and being like, what are you doing? Can you send me some things? And really crowdsourcing there because I just wasn't finding a lot of the information online. I mean, now we have a term for it, AI slop, but I was just seeing these things and I was like, this just doesn't feel like it's going to be applicable to me or I'm going to be able to utilize this in my life. And so, really, just my trusted network and experimentation.
If people haven't heard that term AI slop, will you define it for them and share some of the telltale signs of AI slop?
Yeah. I mean, it's when someone will just mass produce a bunch of content and they just look really cheesy and there's a lot of like silly graphics and there's a lot of fear mongering in that kind of stuff. That's not all AI slop. AI slop can just look like just AI generated stuff that someone mass produced quickly.
So, can you tell a little bit about the role of community and how that played a part in helping you and can help other women step into AI with confidence?
Yeah. So I've been a community builder for the past 8, 10 years for other brands, large brands that, wanted to work on subscription retention, building loyalty. And so I really fell in love with communities and saw the impact that they can have on people throughout my career and just wanted to build my own for my own personal needs, partly selfishly, so that I could learn about AI and how to implement it. But also just really saw a need for it. A lot of the AI learning that I see is courses that are one-on-one or it's online. There's not much of a space around it, or YouTube videos, Instagram videos where it just feels like a drop in the bucket and not like a continuous situation. Um, and a lot of men. That's what I found, which no hate to the men out there doing this work. But I know the magic that can happen when women come together and the way we think and learn is different than men. Again, that's a generalization, but, there's just ways that we can support each other and utilize AI for our own use cases that might be different than men. And so really just I was having so many conversations with friends and I was like, okay, let's just bring everyone together. Let's make it easier. And it's been really wonderful to see the magic happen. And what I think is special is that we really think about the whole woman, not just, the career aspect of that person, because as we know, women are so much more than just their careers. They wear many hats. They are typically keeping households together and making sure the children are ready for school, that they are fed appropriate, they're staying alive. Women are doing so
All
much.
the things.
Also trying to have a personal life and work out and stay hydrated and moisturize. It's a lot. And so and it's a very similar mission to you of like, how can we get our time back and reclaim our time and do things that we love with our free time because we're doing so many other things that men might also have, but might not be able to relate to in the same ways.
Can you share more about Maiven Collective and how you're building this community to scale so more women can take part and begin their AI journey with you?
So there's two aspects to it. There's the digital component, as you're mentioning with your podcast, trying to scale that way to reach more women. And then we do have in-person events too, which I think are just so cup filling and so important for deeper connections. And just a quick anecdote, we did one in-person meetup during the beta. And we just did a walk around the lake, and it was so fun because someone recounted their dating story from the night before, and we all got like a big old laugh about the story, and then, talked about other things. And then naturally, without me prompting, the conversation did turn to AI, how they're using AI and jobs and careers and where they're applying and tips and tricks. And people were connecting on a career level. And so it was really beautiful just to see that unfold so naturally and then have those relationships deepened where these women were making friends and deepening their professional networks. So big, big, huge proponent of in person. But essentially, we have a community space that's virtual where we have it separated into different topics, different subject matters, and different ways of learning. So everything that we try to do is very hands-on, very implementable immediately. We show a lot of examples. We do quick wins, quick deep dives. And then we also bring in experts such as yourself. Last week, we did Build Your First Automation, and it was really cool because we had a couple women on there build their first automation in real time. And so to see them shift from, I don't know how to make an automation, I'm not a tech person, to, okay, I can actually do this. And I did it in real time was really cool to see. So we'll do that. And then we'll do discussions. Just, hey, what do we need to know about this topic? Share your expertise with us. We do 2-week sprint sessions that are putting everything we're learning into action. So right now we're in a social media sprint. So the topic changes every 2 weeks. But right now, how can we use AI to up level your social media? What else do we do? It's still building and growing, and we're still iterating. We do office hours where you can just come together and get unstuck on a problem together. We do orientation sessions where you get to meet other women. And I think that's really important because that's where we actually talk about like, hey, what fears do you have around AI? And just being able to name those fears and validate them, I think is really helpful for people just to be able to speak to that and be like, oh, I'm not alone. And what I can do about it. And here's how I can, as you know, empower myself to be informed and make decisions for myself and my family.
What are the fears that you hear about AI?
Environmental, fears about human connection dwindling, fears about jobs. That's a big one. Am I going to have a job in 2 years? Just fears about like the macro level fear is big. And we see this in the headlines constantly. And there is reality and truth to these headlines. And at the same time, nobody knows. So we're making a lot of predictions on things we just have no idea about. And as we know, the news is very fear mongering and rage baity. That fear is very real and very present for a lot of people.
Well, how do you help women process those fears?
Yeah. So we go into breakout rooms and the prompts are, hey, what's your fear and what's your hope? So start with what are we worried about on either a macro or a micro level? And then what's your hope? How do you hope to use this technology to push your mission forward? Or how do you hope it helps humanity? What problems do you hope it solves? And so we name both, we talk about them in these small groups, and we try to leave on a more positive note. And then it's also helpful information for us of like, okay, let's go bring in someone who is working in the environmental space and using AI to solve problems on, climate tech. Or, okay, women are worried about the impact on their kids. Let's go bring in Sarah for a discussion. So we try to hear those fears and think, okay, what can we do to provide content to empower us to face these fears?
Well, speaking of naming things, can you tell us about the name Maiven Collective? Where did that come from? And it has a special spelling, so I want to be sure to call that out.
So I have been sitting on this handle for 2.5 years because it
What?
just like came to me, but I was working at Meta and it would have been seen as a conflict. I wouldn't have been able to start this community. But essentially, a maven is someone who's an expert. It sounds similar to maiden, which is a very matriarchal word. And then I just added a little I because we are an AI based community. So Maiven Collective. I love the word collective just in terms of, for me, it evokes a very collaborative and almost a little bit magical essence to me.
And for moms and caregivers who are listening, who are working on their AI journey and who might be interested in being part of being a Maven and being part of the collective, how can they find you? And
When you go into our website, maivencollective.com, you click start here, it brings you to an assessment where you get your AI readiness level 1 through 3. So if you have never opened up these tools, that is okay. You are not behind.
right.
If you are building with these tools or you're even one of the women creating these tools, you're a level 3 plus, and that's great. We're excited to have you in the community as well. And then you also get an archetype, and we've kind of categorized people into 4 broad archetypes, and they're the entrepreneur, the corporate decision maker, the career transitioner, and the self-growth seeker. So whether you fall into any of those buckets or a little mix of both, you are more than welcome in Maiven. And yeah, if you go to our website or find us on Instagram, it's Maiven_collective on Instagram. We haven't ventured into TikTok yet. I don't know if we will. But yeah, would love to connect. Everyone gets a 7-day trial just to jump in, see how it feels. And then in that time, you can attend events and see if it's right for you.
How exciting. Well, I know there will be folks listening who this will be a perfect fit for. And in addition to visiting mavencollective.com and doing the assessment, are there any other steps you would recommend for women who might feel curious but cautious or maybe feeling those fears more strongly than they're feeling their hopes? Any ways, low stakes ways that women could safely start using AI today that you would recommend?
Yeah. And I think, this might be a larger conversation, but I think it comes down to how we see ourselves. I think myself, I can speak to my experience. I didn't see myself as a tech person. If you operate a business in today's world, I don't care if you're making candles, if you are, doing stationery, you work in tech. The way the world is set up, you now work in tech. And so really shifting our mindsets to be like, actually, wait, I am a tech person. I can do these things is step one. And step two is just experimenting, just opening the apps, which can be intimidating. I have had to coach people on the phone of like, okay, let me screen share. This is how you open this app. This is how you prompt. This is how you set up your instructions. And so just jumping in and trying and knowing that you're not behind. That's the other big thing is you're not behind. Nobody's behind. This is all happening in real time. No one's behind.
Right. No one's behind. And we're also all behind because it's happening so fast that we can never catch up. You can never process all of this information. Even us working in AI, it's
Mhm.
overwhelming. So I agree with you. No one is behind, yet we're all behind because we're all in it together as
Yeah.
things are changing so rapidly.
One of our advisors is this wonderful, amazing woman named Heather, and she is head of cloud security at Google North America. She's doing this every day. She
Mhm.
is learning about AI. She is implementing AI. She's working with AI, and we get on calls with her and we will show her something new. And
Mhm.
she is just like, oh my gosh, it is moving so fast. So if even that type of person is feeling like I'm behind, don't worry. We're all behind. We're all together in it. And I feel like naming that and bringing awareness to that is really helpful just to lower the barrier. AI is one that's not going away. It is
Mhm.
here. You're not behind. It's not too late to jump in. And don't miss out on the benefits of jumping in just because the fear is there. Feel the fear and do it anyways. That's what they say, right?
Feel the fear and do it anyways. I love it. Well, Kate, let's switch gears and go into our own little chatbot mode here. I'm just going to throw out some quick questions and that you're the chatbot now. I'd love to hear just what comes to mind for you. So first question is, what's your favorite AI tool?
I mean, jack of all trades, ChatGPT. I use it every day. It's my wingman or wingwoman.
What about a myth about women and tech that you would love to bust?
That men handle pressure better than women.
Mm.
I think that women are designed to be under stress and under pressure, and I think we're a little bit better at it, to be honest.
What about the most surprising way you've used AI recently, yourself personally?
I built myself a little project for skincare, and so I'll upload a photo of my face every day, just like straight out of bed. It ain't cute, and have it analyze my skin health, and then we'll say all the things I did, and then when I switch things up, we'll go through it, and then I ask for personalized recommendations as if it were a world class dermatologist, and that's been really fun, and it's given me some good tips.
I love it. Can you share any tips that you've learned that we might be able to?
Yeah, it had me swap out my cleanser for something more gentle. I think a big one was I was just using this like cheapy SPF moisturizer in the mornings and it was
Mhm.
like, no, put like a nice actual moisturizing, hydrating moisturizer underneath and then throw it on top. So I started doing that and I did notice a difference. It also gave me a whole supplement regimen that, talk to your doctor. But that's been good. Who knows if it's actually the supplements or what, but I have been having fun with it.
Well, I think it's working. I think it's working. Um, We just announced our winner of the AI fail contest for August, a hilarious picture that was sent in by one member of the community who wanted to know
A good
the
idea.
full chant that goes with a thumb war. They were teaching their kids
Mhm.
how to do a thumb war, and Gemini gave them a picture of one hand having a thumb war. So anyway, that to say, have you had any AI fails recently that you'd like to submit to the AI fail of the month contest?
I love this. I might need to borrow this. We recently, I hope I can say these names without you getting in trouble. They're public figures, but as we all know, Taylor and Travis got engaged, and we used Chat, Claude, and Gemini and said, make us a photo of what their dream wedding would look like. And ChatGPT was beautiful. Gemini was okay. And Claude was like, what the actual get this photo. Like, go to our Instagram and just scroll. We were peeing our pants on the floor laughing.
I saw that. Definitely recommend people go look and do not hire Claude as your wedding planner.
Yeah, no, Claude, are you okay?
What about as a community builder and a community member? What's your favorite community that you've ever been a part of?
The tonal community has a special place in my heart. It's one of the first communities that I built as a professional, and I still talk to people from that community on a daily basis. So that one will always have a special place in my heart.
Okay, thinking about your career path, you mentioned at the beginning that you had a non traditional career path, but it feels like we hear that more and more. Are non traditional career paths the new traditional career paths?
I think there's pros and cons to both approaches. There's so many times when I thought, oh, I'm so behind in my 1K contributions because
Mhm.
I lived in Cambodia and Thailand for 4 years out of college. But then I think back and I'm like, well, I talk to people who did go up the traditional route and are like, dang, I really wish I lived abroad. And so there's going to be pros and cons to either approach. And it's just a matter of living a values aligned life and figuring out what's important to you and going after that. And I think you can make it like the beauty of today's world is you can make anything work. Like there are no rules anymore. So
Right.
write your own.
Well, we are all about celebrating each other's wins in the AI empowered mom community. So, can you share a win of yours, a recent win that we can celebrate with you?
I think launching the community, it was such a labor of love. It was so fun to build with my co-founder Emily. She's incredible on the tech side and the back end, and just being able to do it with someone that, we see eye to eye on a lot of things and we work really well together has been really beautiful. And so just being able to put that out into the world and talk about facing fears. Oh my gosh, the vulnerability that it takes and the anxiety that I've had to face, I'm proud of myself for that and still working through it, of course.
Okay, so we can celebrate your launch. We can celebrate two amazing female co founders, and we can celebrate facing fears. That was a
Yes,
three for right there.
absolutely.
Um, what it doesn't have to be AI related, but I want to know about a podcast or a book that you have loved recently that others might be interested in.
Lately, I've been into Diary of a CEO. I
Oh.
think that he does a really good job bringing in some great guests, and I think he's a really good interviewer. So that's been a big one for me lately.
What about a recent AI development that has you excited? Something new in AI that caught your interest?
Been experimenting with Nano Banana, and that's been really fun, and it's been the best one so far.
For those who aren't familiar yet with Nano Banana, and because it has such a crazy name, can you share a little bit about what Nano Banana is?
Yeah, it's AI image generation and video. They have a video component to it, and it's through Gemini. So if you already have a free version for Gemini, you have access to it, which is a big shift from paying for it's limited. You can only do so many generations a day, but other competitors were a lot more expensive, like Midjourney. And so to have this, it's really leveling up the game for all the competitors, and it's very quick.
It's super quick. You can use your natural language to describe it. So the first idea that came into my mind was we do not have to get a Christmas card photo taken this year. I'm just going to find a nice picture of my family and then say, put us all in Christmas attire, and boom, I
I
have
love
my
that.
holiday card. I'm going to
Would
let
do it with
Nano
my
Banana
dogs.
take care of that.
I literally got a text. The first text I woke up to this morning was my friend who wakes up at like 5 a.m. And we had recently gone shopping because she's going to a wedding and her ex is going to be there. And so she wants to look, fire. And she just, the first thing I wake up to is, hey, take this photo and can you make my pants black? It's like, you can do this too. Let me show you how. But yes, I sent her like all the different iterations of her pants that she wanted.
That's so nice. You both gave her the fish and taught her to
Let
fish. I
me
love it.
just show you.
Well, Kate, last question is what's one thing you hope women listening take away from this conversation that we've had today?
I think the biggest thing is that you're not behind. I'm sure your audience is experimenting with AI, but keep going, changing that mindset around a tech person. I know what I'm doing here. I deserve to use this. I am informed and I have every right to be here. And I think that that's just so important for all of us to try to adopt that mentality.
I- I'm
So
so thankful to you for joining, but more importantly, for the work that you're doing for women and AI. And if today sparked ideas, I hope folks will share this episode with a friend. Follow Kate and the Maiven Collective. That's at Maiven_collective. And if you're curious, but you haven't started yet, you're not behind, or we're all behind together, either one. So start with just one small experiment and then share with us about it. You can reach me at contact@AIempoweredmom.com or send me a message on Instagram or the dreaded TikTok at AI Empowered Mom. And I'll meet you right back here again next time. Thank you again so much, Kate, for being here. It was lovely connecting with you.
thanks, Sarah. It was so great to be here, and I'm so excited to have you in Maven.